attention is the most expensive gift you keep giving away for free. You know the drill. Midnight pings. You up texts. A quick call that eats your whole evening. You answer fast. You say yes. You push your workout, your sleep, your focus. Then you sit there wondering why they treat you like a hotline instead of a human. It's not just dating. It's DRs, snaps, and urgent voice notes that somehow only matter when you're busy. You keep renting out your bandwidth by the minute, hoping availability equals value. But the more you open the door on demand, the less anyone notices you're in the room. That sting you feel being needed but never really respected is the tax you pay for being permanently reachable. This video is the turn. Not about being rude, not about mind games. It's about owning access to you. We'll reframe availability as a signal, not a personality trait. We'll talk scarcity the right way, selective, calm, adult. You'll learn a simple A.S.K. Filter access, standards, kill switch, who gets in, on what terms, and when you cut the line. Because some people thrive on your instant response. They don't mean harm. They just move toward the easiest source of attention. If you're always on, you become the easiest source. Stay with me. In a few minutes, you'll see why reliable character beats predictable availability, how to create intrigue without being a jerk, and how to flip the dynamic by protecting your calendar like it's cash. By the end, you'll know exactly how to be warm, not wired, present, not on call, and why that shift makes you more respected and more attractive. Here's the part no one tells you every time you jump at a buzz. You're teaching people that your life runs on their schedule. That's why it hurts. You aren't just losing minutes, you're leaking status. Instant replies look like care, but read is low value. Predictability kills intrigue. You become the open tab everyone keeps in the background, useful, forgettable, always there. The blue bubble anxiety, the typing, dots, the reflex to unlock your phone mid-set at the gym. None of it is random. It's a loop. You chase the tiny dopamine hit of being needed, and they learn that access to you is cheap. Meanwhile, the bill arrives. Work suffers. Sleep bleeds. Your workout slides. Sunday reset turns into damage control because you spent Saturday night managing someone else's mood. You tell yourself you're being kind, but kindness without boundaries is self-erasure. In American hustle culture, time is the loudest signal we have. If anyone can grab yours on demand, you've already broadcast your price. That's why you're treated like a hotline instead of a human. This isn't about going cold or playing games. It's about changing the signal. Right now, we cut the autopilot, reclaim your bandwidth, and make access to you mean something again, so reliability stays and predictable availability dies. Let's name it. You've turned into the emergency button on other people's phones. When boredom spikes, when anxiety hits, when validation runs low, they tap you like a red switch, quick hit, instant relief, and then slide you back onto the shelf until the next surge. It feels flattering in the moment. The ringtone says you matter. The crisis makes you feel central. But that feeling is a trick of timing, not a measure of value. You're mistaking access for affection, urgency for importance. A panic button isn't cherished, it's convenient. It's not the front row seat, it's the fire extinguisher behind glass. Useful, ignored, taken for granted until someone needs a fix. Here's the quiet math happening every time you respond on cue. Reliability without boundaries reads as infinite supply. Infinite supply reads as low price. Low price becomes low respect. You see it in the tiny ways A.S.K replies, late texts, plans that depend on your flexibility, invitations that arrive after better options fall through. The more you prove you'll pick up, the less anyone notices you hung up your own priorities to do it. That's why the sting keeps getting sharper. You're running a free refill policy on your attention and wondering why no one treats it like top shelf. Starting now, we change the policy. Access is earned, not assumed. Let's be honest, this isn't only their habit. It's yours. The buzz hits, your chest tightens, and your thumb moves before your brain votes. Ping. Check. Tiny relief. Then regret. You tell yourself you're being caring, but the cycle is chemical and fast. Your nervous system learns that replying now removes discomfort now. That's not love. That's a loop. Over time, you start tying your worth to how useful you are in other people's storms. If no one needs you tonight, you feel invisible. So you go looking for the next ping. That loop trains everyone around you, too. When you answer instantly, you teach them to outsource regulation to you. They don't pause. They don't process. They discharge. You absorb. You become the off-ramp for every spike of boredom, worry, or validation hunger. And because you're reliable without limits, they stop seeing the human and start seeing the function. A resource. A fix. A background tab. Here's the reframe you need right now. Excessive availability isn't kindness. It's addiction dressed as virtue. Real care requires a boundary. When you step back, you are not abandoning people. You're ending the dependency that's burning you out. Will some cravings hit? Yes. Will some people push back? Sure. But that first gap between the ping and your response is the beginning of control. That gap is where you get yourself back. You've been calling it kindness, but it's compulsion wearing a halo. The screen lights up and your body leans in. You pause a set mid-rep. You slip out of a meeting to send a quick reply. You leave food to go cold because someone just needs 2 minutes. You label it thoughtful. You call it being a good guy. But your nervous system isn't practicing empathy. It's chasing relief. You're soothing your own discomfort with speed. And every time you sprint to the phone, you broadcast one message louder than any words: my priorities are negotiable. Yours are not. In American always-on culture, signals speak before you do. A Swiss cheese calendar reads as low status. A phone that always wins reads as low standards. People track your patterns. If you can be interrupted, you will be. If you train them that now is the only time you respond, they'll only show up now on their terms. That's why respect erodes in inches. Shorter texts, later replies, plans that treat you as the flexible option. This isn't about turning cold, it's about turning conscious. The first win is simple. Protect the gap. Let the ping land. Breathe. Choose. That tiny pause flips the frame from reflex to decision. And it's the beginning of being reliable in character, not predictable on demand. Now comes the uncomfortable part. Breaking the loop means some people will fade. Let them. That isn't failure. That's data. When you stop answering on command, the first reaction isn't gratitude. It's protest. Expect guilt scripts. Expect sudden emergencies that only appear at midnight. Expect the bait of, It'll just take a sec. Some folks aren't villains. They're simply trained to consume what's free. Your always-on attention felt like a bottomless buffet, so they kept filling their plate. That's the extraction economy of connection-high access, low respect. When you raise the price to healthy boundaries, demand drops, and what remains is real interest. You'll feel a tug to cave. Breathe. You're not abandoning anyone. You're ending a dependency that was burning you out. Think of energy vampires not as monsters, but as dynamics. They thrive on interruption, urgency, and your fear of disappointing people. They don't ask, "Is this important?" They ask, "Is he available?" Your answer used to be yes. From now on, it's sometimes. You protect windows. You reply when it fits your life. You end late-night therapy by text. You move from crisis responder to calm chooser. The moment you do, the tone shifts, manipulation spikes, then cools, respect rises, then sticks, and the people who value you adjust to the new terms because access to you finally means something. Here's why quitting the always-on role feels impossible. The reward schedule is rigged. Most days you get crumbs dry replies, delayed plans, lukewarm thanks. Then, out of nowhere, you hit a jackpot, a flurry of attention, a sweet voice note, a night that feels electric. Your brain remembers the win and forgets the cost. That's intermittent reinforcement, the same loop that keeps people glued to slot machines. Not every pull pays, but any pull might. So you answer faster. You stay later. You keep the line open just in case. The jackpot trained you more than the silence ever did. Meanwhile, your predictability quietly murders attraction. Effort creates value, and you've removed all effort. No chase, no tension, no earned access. You become the vending machine of attention insert inconvenience. Receive instant relief. Desire doesn't vanish. It migrates to the thing that isn't guaranteed. That's why you're tolerated, not treasured. Unlimited availability flattens mystery. It turns presence into background noise. The fix isn't cruelty, it's cadence. Break the pattern. Batch replies. Guard nights and mornings. Sometimes respond later. Sometimes don't respond at all. Let your calendar, not their impulses, decide when access happens. You'll feel the slot machine tug. Breathe through it. Up next, we draw a hard line between reliable character and predictable availability, so you keep your word without living on call. Reliability is a promise you keep. Predictable availability is a leash you wear. One says, "I'll be there when I said I would." The other says, "I'll drop everything whenever you buzz." That's the fracture killing your respect. Reliability has structure. It lives on your calendar, not in your impulses. You show up for dates you planned. You answer during windows you chose. You finish your set, your meeting, your meal, then you reply with intention. Predictable availability has no spine. It bows to every vibration. It apologizes for taking a shower. It treats other people's whims like zip irons you must obey. Here's the litmus test. If you say yes because it aligns with your priorities, that's reliability. If you say yes because you're afraid they'll be upset, that's predictability. One builds trust. The other breeds contempt. People don't admire unlimited access. They admire earned access. So codify it. Office hours for texts. Do not disturb during deep work. Mornings are yours. Late nights are closed. When you do respond, be present and concise. Quality. not panic. You'll feel the urge to justify the gap. Don't. Boundaries don't need apologies. Keep your word. Guard your bandwidth. That contrasts solid character. Selective access is the spark that restores intrigue. Next, we kill the projection screen effect, so you stop being whatever they need and start being unmistakably you. Here's the real trap when you're always available. You stop being a person and turn into a projection screen. People don't meet you. They meet the version they need in that moment. If they want a late-night therapist, you become one. If they want a hype man, you cheer. If they want an Uber, you drive. You keep shape-shifting because it avoids conflict and buys you crumbs of approval. But chameleons don't get chosen. They get used. A screen is easy to control because it never pushes back. It has no edges, no texture. That's why certain people prefer men who are endlessly accommodating. It's not romance. It's convenience. Kill the screen by installing a frame. A frame is your declared way of moving through life. It says, here's my rhythm. Here's how to access me. Here's what I don't do. You don't explain it with essays. You demonstrate it with patterns. You answer in set windows. You decline late-night therapy with a calm, not tonight. You show up fully when you're in, and you're fully out when you're not. The result is instant sorting. Some people drift. The right ones lean in, because presence with edges feels real. You're not withholding, you're defined. Next, we'll turn that definition into ethical scarcity that raises value without playing games. Scarcity, done right, isn't cruelty, it's clarity. You're not vanishing, you're raising the standard for access, so your time reads as premium instead of public. Think of it like seating on a flight, limited seats. Clear rules, no drama. When access to you requires intention, people treat it with intention. That's why we use ethical scarcity. It's selective, calm, and adult. No ghosting, no games, just a steady signal that your bandwidth is finite and valuable. Start with the A.S.K. Filter access. Standards. Kill switch. Access says who gets through and in what windows. Standards define what requests qualify as now versus later. The kill switch ends a draining thread without apology. Put it on your calendar. DND after 10 p.m. Deep work in the morning. Gym is phone-in locker. Sunday reset is sacred. If it can wait, it waits. When you do respond, you show up fully for a focused block instead of scattering crumbs all day. That rhythm turns you from vending machine to reservation. The best part: scarcity becomes effortless when your life is genuinely full. Goals, training, craft, real friendships. Now you're unavailable because you're living, not posturing. And the moment your access stops being automatic, something shifts. Desire rises. Respect returns. The dynamic tilts in your favor. Next, we'll unpack that power shift and how to hold it without playing the villain. When access stops being automatic, the power flips. You're no longer orbiting other people's impulses. They start adjusting to your rhythm. Availability is vulnerability when it's constant. Selective availability becomes leadership. You set the terms of engagement when you answer, how you meet, what qualifies as urgent. The first wave is noisy, longer texts, clearer asks, fewer midnight you up pings, because effort replaces entitlement. Respect follows effort. People value what they earn, not what pours out on command. Expect turbulence. The ones who fed on instant access may test you with guilt. silence, or sudden emergencies. Don't punish. Don't perform. Stay consistent. Can't tonight. Tomorrow at 6 works. I'm off my phone in the mornings. Calm scripts beat apologies. Your calendar becomes your contract, and your calm becomes the frame. Something important appears in that quiet, the truth of each connection. If someone rages, sulks, or tries to bargain down your boundary, they weren't seeking you. They were seeking control. If they adapt, schedule, and meet you where you are, they're choosing you, not just your availability. This isn't domination. It's stewardship of your energy. You're reliable by choice, not predictable by fear. And with the noise dialed down, space opens up space to hear your own signal and build a life that doesn't bend to every buzz. Next, we carve that space into identity, real individuation, not reaction. Individuation is what happens when that new space stops feeling like silence and starts feeling like signal. You're no longer a mirror for other people's moods. You're a whole person with a pulse that doesn't speed up for every buzz. Practically, it looks simple. Solitude reps without a screen. Calendar blocks you. Defend like rent. Lifting without just a quick text. Walks where your phone stays dark and your mind stays bright. A journal page instead of a midnight thread. Deep work that earns your evening, instead of winging it around someone else's dopamine spikes. Your scoreboard shifts from external approval to internal alignment. Did I honor my plan? Did I keep my word to me? It will feel strange. Boredom shows up first. Then clarity. You'll grieve the identity that was built on being needed. You'll notice who liked the shapeshifter more than the man. Let them. Individuation doesn't make you colder. It makes you coherent. You still care. You just don't contort. Your yes means yes because your no has teeth. The signs you're on track are small, but loud. You choose before you reply. You plan weeks before DMs. Your voice stays steady when you say not tonight. Fewer interrupted sets. Fewer apology texts. Deeper conversations that start later but go farther. That's a self returning. Next, we turn that self into motion with strategic withdrawal. How to step back from draining loops without drama. Strategic withdrawal isn't ghosting. It's gravity. You pull your energy out of loops that don't deserve it and let everything settle where it actually belongs. Think of it as a reset, not revenge. You're not icing people out. You're ending patterns that burn you out. The tone stays warm. The line stays clear. Not tonight. Catching up tomorrow after 6. I'm off my phone this morning. Let's pick this up when we both have time. That's withdrawal done right, calm, scheduled, adult. Run it like a play. First, pause. Let the urge to fix or reply pass through your body before you touch the phone. Second, triage. Is this truly urgent or just intense? If it's not urgent, it goes in a reply window. Third, end clean. Use the kill switch without drama. Gotta jump. Talk later. Mute threads that spiral. Leave group chats that only ping at 1 a.m. Put D&D on a schedule so your calendar enforces what your willpower forgets. When you do engage, be present. 10 focused minutes beat 2 hours of scattered crumbs. People will notice the shift. Some will respect it immediately. Others will tug, test, or try to renegotiate your boundary. Don't lecture. Don't defend. Repeat the pattern. Your consistency is the message. Hold this line, and the noise dies down. Then the real signals appear. Up next, how to handle the protests without folding. Protests are proof your boundary is visible. Expect the classics guilt scripts, sudden emergencies, flattery, silence, mini tantrums. Wow, you've changed. I guess I don't matter. I really need you right now. The goal isn't clarity, it's control. They're not asking for connection, they're asking for access on demand. Your job is to stay steady. Don't explain your life story. Don't litigate the past. Don't perform empathy as a password. Keep your frame simple. Acknowledge, restate, schedule, exit. I hear you. I'm off my phone tonight. Tomorrow at 6 works. If they push, you don't escalate. You repeat. The broken record rule saves you from over-talking. It also reveals who can handle a boundary and who only respected you when you had none. You'll feel the itch to fold. That's the old loop begging for one more hit. Breathe through it. Use time as a tool. A 30-minute delay turns urgency into perspective. A 24-hour window turns drama into a choice. If an interaction turns manipulative threats, blame. Scorekeeping end clean, not helpful. Picking this up later. Then leave the thread. Remember, calm is not weakness. Calm is leverage. You're training your nervous system to choose principle over panic, and training others to approach you with intention, not entitlement. Hold the line for a week, and you'll notice the weather change, fewer midnight pings, clearer asks, more respectful tone. What remains is real interest. Next, we flip to the payoff, how scarcity creates value, and why loss aversion makes your presence feel premium. Here's the payoff when access stops being automatic. Value flips. The same presence they skimmed over yesterday suddenly feels rare, and rare reads as important. That shift isn't magic, it's contrast. People don't notice air until the window closes. When your attention isn't on tap, they experience a micro loss, and loss bites harder than gain. That's why the tone changes first. Messages get clearer. Requests get specific. Plans arrive sooner. Effort replaces entitlement, because effort is how humans protect what they don't want to lose. Your selective cadence says, without speeches, this time matters. And because it matters, they show up with more respect, more focus, more reciprocity. Don't confuse this with games. You're not dangling attention to provoke anxiety. You're restoring price to something priceless. Let the new rhythm do its work. Keep your windows. Answer with presence. Decline without drama. If someone only moves when they fear losing you, note it. That's not devotion. That's dependency. Real interest doesn't need sirens. It schedules. It invests. It adapts. This is the value inversion in motion, from convenience to consideration. From background noise to front row priority. You didn't become hard to get. You became worth earning. Hold the line, and the sorting accelerates. What drifts was never yours, and what remains is real. Next, we turn that value into a filter that protects your time and amplifies your pull. A real filter doesn't need speeches, it needs friction. When access to you requires a little effort, clear asks, proper timing, respect for your windows, the lazy connections fall away on their own. That's the beauty of selective availability. It forces a choice. The ones who are coasting on convenience won't cross the small bridge you've built. The ones who value you will. They'll text with context. They'll propose a time. They'll meet you in your lanes instead of dragging you into theirs. In a week, you'll see the pattern: fewer you up pings. More are you free. Thursday at 7. Fewer spirals, more solutions. The filter also exposes character. Some people negotiate, some manipulate, some adapt. If someone goes cold the moment your attention has a price, that wasn't chemistry, it was access addiction. Let it go. This filter protects your bandwidth and sharpens your pull. Your time feels premium because it is. You answer slower, but show up fuller. You say no faster, but follow through harder. Conversations get shorter and better. Plans get rarer and richer. You're no longer auditioning with availability. You're inviting with presence. What remains after the sorting is the good stuff, people who invest, reciprocate, and respect your edges. That's the foundation attraction actually loves. Next, we build on it the kind of grounded presence that draws people in without a single push. Presence is quiet power. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It sits, solid, and everything else orients around it. You build it in small, repeatable ways. Phone down when you're with someone. Eyes up when they speak. Finish the set before you check the screen. Keep promises to your calendar the way you keep promises to a friend. That steadiness reads, it says, I value my time, so yours with me is valuable too. Presence is also self-contained. You enjoy your own company. You can take a walk without reaching for a pocket buzz. You can eat, lift, read, and actually taste, strain, and think. That grounded rhythm makes you rare in a culture that's always buffering. Rare becomes magnetic. Presence isn't cold. It's warm with edges. You're available, not on call. You listen without fixing. You speak plainly instead of performing. Your tone stays calm when someone else spikes. That calm is safety, and safety is attractive. The frame is simple. Focus on what you're doing. Hold your standards. Let the filter do its work. When you step into a room like that, clear, unhurried, unhooked people lean in. They feel the difference before they name it. That's masculine presence, not a pose, a practice, and it pays. Up next, we turn that steadiness into fuel. How reclaiming your attention compounds into health, work, and momentum you can bank. Reclaimed attention turns into fuel. The moment you stop leaking minutes to every buzz, you get hours back, and those hours have weight. Sleep deepens, lifts go up, work stops feeling like a chase and starts feeling like momentum. You're no longer scattering crumbs of focus across a dozen threads. You're stacking full meals of effort on the things that actually pay you back. One focused block replaces 5 frantic check-ins. A clean night's sleep beats any midnight therapy text. Your brain remembers what clarity feels like, and your body follows. Put that energy where it compounds. 10 pages a day becomes a book a month. 3 gym sessions become a PR. A Sunday reset turns your week from reaction to execution. You meal prep. You ship the side project. You track your money. You call your people on your terms and give them better attention because you're not half distracted. The spiral flips. As you improve, you feel less needy. As you feel less needy, boundaries hold easier. As boundaries hold, respect rises. More options appear. Desperation drops. This isn't hoarding your time, it's investing it. You're choosing returns over rush. And when your life starts paying dividends, your presence gets even rarer and more magnetic. Next, we say the quiet part out loud, the truth about availability. and why reliable character beats reachable every time. Availability isn't love. It's a signal, and when it's constant, it signals fear. Fear of missing out, fear of disapproval, fear of being replaced. You call it kindness, but kindness without boundaries turns into self-betrayal. Real care has edges. It says yes on purpose and no without panic. The truth is simple: people don't respect what's always reachable. They respect what's reliably real. Warm heart, locked calendar. That's not cold. That's adult. Constant accessibility confuses two different virtues. Being caring means you show up when it matters. Being on call means you show up whenever someone feels like it. One builds trust, the other breeds contempt. You don't need to explain this in paragraphs. You demonstrate it in patterns. You keep date night because you said it. You finish the workout before you text back. You take the call you planned. You skip the spiral you didn't. Your presence becomes a choice, not a compulsion, and chosen presence feels priceless. This isn't manipulation. No timers, no silent treatment, no anxiety games. It's stewardship. You are responsible for your attention the way you're responsible for your money, your health, your word. Boundaries protect relationship quality, the way walls protect a home. They keep the weather out so the room can stay warm. From here, we land the plane how to close strong, invite the right people forward, and lock in a cadence that keeps you respected and wanted, not merely available. This is your line in the sand. Warm heart, locked calendar, reliable in character, selective in access. Starting tonight, run the A.S.K. Filter out loud. Who gets access? What are the standards? When do you hit the kill switch? Put D&D on a schedule. Guard mornings. Close late nights. Batch replies. Show up fully when you're in. Be fully out when you're not. In 1 week, you'll feel it: less noise, more respect, real momentum. If this hit home, don't just not act. Save this. Share it with the friend who's always on and always exhausted. Drop access in the comments, and I'll send you my exact reply scripts and boundary lines you can use tonight. Follow and hit the bell if you want weekly playbooks on presence, boundaries, and dating that actually works in the real world. No games, no gimmicks, just grown man cadence that makes you wanted, not merely reachable. You're not here to be a background tab. You're here to be unmistakably you, steady, scarce, and worth earning. The minute you treat your attention like currency, the market corrects. People rise to the price or they walk. Either way, you win. Choose your windows. Keep your word. Protect the gap. And watch how fast life gets quieter, richer, and a whole lot more attractive.